There's a lot of mature and deep DCAU episodes that make you uncomfortable, that breaks your heart by taking these wonderfully complex characters and challenging their wants, their fears, and their beliefs. Why are they destined to be who they are, and why are they destined to live life in these never-ending stories and battles? As a little kid, I found this cool because Batman crying looked badass, but entering my 20s, I found myself digging the opposite when it comes to superhero media. Instead of deconstructing them with modern cynicism, what about reconstructing them with the same simpler mindset that created them? And instead of being embarrassed by this, what if you took us there too, and let it become the lens we learn to see the entire genre with? Kid Stuff is a horror-themed episode where what if Clark, Bruce, Dan, and John were turned into kids and needed to fight Mordred in a world without adults? It's absolutely insane, and you know what? Cute doesn't even begin to describe it. Kid John has crazy, stupid plans.
I'll make a lawnmower and chew him up.
Kid Clark is a clueless good boy the League throw their unwanted tasks onto. Bruce is the weirdo who lags behind everyone, but is smart and cool. And Diana is the bossy kid who constantly embarrasses Bruce every chance she gets.
I'll go with Bruce, and John can go with Clark. Whatever.
Every quality they carry as a child puts forth on the surface the quirks they have as adults. Batman being weird about his feelings for Wonder Woman. Now that we see how much of a geek John was as a kid, his chemistry with Wally makes even more sense. And Clark being this blank, unassuming kid while being very headstrong with helping those around him is literally what causes political problems in the present.
I can shut down Cadmus without killing Luthor.
Carry on then.
As a result, as episode 3 of the first season of JLU, it does a great job in reintroducing us to these familiar characters and world while introducing the new tonal balance and comedic confidence.
It's not a race.
The original Justice League seasons had funny moments, especially in season 2, but they were more like punctuations to a largely serious tone. Kid Stuff has basically a completely absurd premise right from the get-go, but it's taken f***ing seriously, and is the character's natural personality quirks that act as the punchline.
What's with that? Man, for somebody with like 50 different kinds of vision, you are so blind.
All done without any wink, because what's both funny and dramatic comes directly from what the absurdity offers. This episode opens with Morgan Le Fay and Mordred reaching the amulet of the first magic, where the boy is tired of being treated as a kid and wants his kingdom immediately. His mum wants him to wait, so against her wishes he grabs the amulet and banishes her and all the adults away.
And finish your history reports.
And what I find strangely profound and delightful about this was that our introduction of the League are them stopping villains in a fight not unlike a game in a children's playground. Quips are thrown.
Guess that's a wrap.
A rock, paper, scissors order of power exists, and afterwards it's all literally a version of cops and robbers.
Sorry. Been hanging out with Flash too much.
So when they take up Morgan Le Fay's offer to turn them into kids to fight her son, it's not too dissimilar to the natural logic of superheroes in general.
We'll split up and sneak behind him. The Lantern can do his thing, but no mores.
Why?
Never mind what I just said. We'll take care of everything else. Lantern, you go crazy.
And that's what I argue is what this episode communicates so well. The childlike wonder inherent to superheroes. In the same way it brings forth the hearts of the characters as children, in this child-populated world it brings forward the playground excitement and joy of running around in a costume, pretending to do what you think an adult is like, all with big, fucking serious stakes. The Justice League babies have to then deal with the kids rampaging, so Diana just tells them off, and then defeats Etrigan by telling him off. And they defeat Mordred by taunting him into growing up.
I'll show you! I'll show you all!
He hated being treated as a little boy and wanted his adult responsibilities as a king right f***ing now. But now that's backfired, and that's the invisible message of the story. When you're young, you want to act like you're older. But when you're older, it's all the more important to ensure and hold on to the childlike part of us. The wonder and fun of play. Batman spoils the mood by saying,
It was kind of enjoyable to be a kid again.
I haven't been a kid since I was 8 years old.
But at the same time, that also means he hasn't actually really left at all, because that means all that he does right now is what an 8-year-old thinks what's needed to be done to fix the world. And that's what superheroes are to us. Their relentless belief in simple, bold ways to help the world, while chasing criminals and tricking magical beings are the verbs of heroism. As Grant Morrison said, and yes, I'm gonna keep quoting them because I paid fucking 20 quid for Super Guards, and by golly, I'm gonna use it. We love our heroes because they refuse to give up on us. We can analyze them out of existence, kill them, ban them, mock them, and still they return, patiently reminding us who we are and what we wish we could be. They are a powerful, living idea. So that was the kid stuff video, which seems like every time I announce something that I'm working on, I immediately jinx their release. In this case, the Mercy Graves and Dick Grayson video. Also, rip Henry Cavill's return as Superman. I mean, wow, it's really sad. But ultimately, I do feel like it was kind of inevitable, because realistically speaking, after Batman v Superman, you don't really have anywhere to go. Clark was publicly announced dead, and everyone he knew went to his funeral, and doing a new Superman series with no Clark Kent element would be a really superficial vision of the character. You could do a Fox X-Men thing where you just pick and choose whatever you want from the past, which includes the entirety of his death, I guess, which I guess is what Justice League seemed to do, but at the same time, like X-Men, you'd be destined for declining returns because you're actively punishing people for paying attention and fostering a culture of whateverness, because it's going to be like a base level of dismissiveness with them. You could no way home it and build the story around wiping people's minds, but general audiences barely remember BVS, so following it so directly wouldn't be that widely appealing / fresh feeling, and also it would just be counterproductive in terms of relaunching everything with a new starting point. And finally, Henry Cavill is almost 40 and Amy Adams is almost 50, so a 10-year plan wouldn't really work unless you're definitely going to do another hard reboot right after that and you're not doing any phase 2 or 3s or anything. Furthermore, every other piece of old Zack Snyder's DCEU is gone. Patty Jenkins refused to rewrite her script for Wonder Woman 3, which means Gal Gadot is probably less inclined to come back. Ezra Miller is Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher is off doing Rebel Moon with Zack Snyder. Jason Momoa in Aquaman is the only thing that's making $1 billion, but you've got Amber Heard and apparently he's gonna be playing Lobo instead. Ben Affleck is 50 and clearly wants to move on, and Black Adam barely made a profit, which shows there's no momentum when it comes to setting up sequels with the old cast, and there's no trust in the established brand when it comes to making franchises out of obscure characters, unlike Marvel. Who would have known Henry Cavill would become the Andrew Garfield of Superman when it comes to a dude with an amazing performance that fans loved, or at least when it comes to Andrew Garfield, people retroactively fell in love, all because of everything went wrong around them, not with them. My preferred outcome would have just been a hard reboot, but with Cavill. Everything from tone to aesthetics to supporting cast would be totally different. It could be potentially confusing, but after Doctor Strange 2, audiences are very clearly understanding when it comes to the idea of having same actors playing the same characters, but a different version of them. But hey ho, at least I'm totally cool now with the idea of Henry Cavill becoming James Bond. And there's a world of possibilities with a fresh, new, young Superman. I don't want a goddamn Superman movie that focuses on spectacle. I want a more intimate character-focused piece that focuses on the development of an immigrant boy who loves his home and the goodness of normal people. I also specifically want Maya Hawke as the new Lois Lane. I want this James Gunn fucking written Superman film to basically be the flashback episode of Superman and Lois but for 2 hours. I want the red briefs, I want the S-curl hair, I want Michael Rosenbaum back as Lex, I want Jimmy Olsen not be shot in the head, I want Lana and Pete back, and more importantly, I want Superman and Lois to be renewed for season 4.
Your girlfriend sure is bossy.
Shut up!